In an unsavory private establishment, an auction is underway. Young girls, all of which are forcibly taken, are being presented to the bidders, and whoever bids the highest gets to take the girl home. Lady Collide is responsible for this cruel arrangement, and there she is, casually sipping wine as she oversees the bidding. A servant tells her that they've already exceeded the cost of acquiring these girls. Behind the stage, one of the girls is crying, begging them to let her go. Another one of the girls comforts her, but not long after, it's the comforting girl's turn to be presented. The bidders are enthralled by her beauty. They all want to take her with them. Before the auction could even begin, the girl uses magic to summon a key to release her hands, and a gun to wipe out all the bidders. Lady Collide's servants are alerted and fight with her, but she's much more powerful. They go down one by one. The maid with the girls is actually the gun-wielding girl's partner. She fights with the other servants and frees the auction girls who are auctioned, including the crying girl. Lady Collide is panicking up there, and the gun-wielding girl tries to shoot her. However, a man stops her before she can. The guy has magic too. The maid comes to her rescue, taking him out with her own gun. There are more of them though. The maid protects the girl, Daya, as she chants a spell to blast them all. Meanwhile, two of their comrades are stationed outside. They see the blast, and the girl remarks that it's Daya and calls signal. She turns to her companion, Luf, and tells him that Lady Collide is guilty. She adds that Collide's group attacks villages disguised as bandits and kidnaps young girls to sell them off to other nobles. Luf tells her that sending Daya and Talt undercover was the right choice. According to him, getting evidence on a members-only auction takes time. They wouldn't want the number of victims to rise in the meantime. Banditry and trafficking are serious crimes. Lady Collide went too far when they attacked a village in a neighboring country. By committing such crimes across national borders, they endangered international affairs. The guy, positioned in such a way as to shoot anyone anytime with his sniper, finally confirms his target, Lady Collide. Before he shoots her, he says, "In accordance with the royal orders and the principles of the House of Tuaje, Lady Collide and those who participated in the sale shall be eliminated." The scene cuts out to an older man shooting his targets using a sniper. Let's call him the assassin. As a woman tells her who and where to shoot, he flawlessly hits the targets one by one. After killing off all his targets, he gets up and prepares to leave the scene. His companion insists that there are still mafia members left, and they should wipe them all out. The older man stands his ground and says that the organization only ordered them to assassinate 6 men. He's not killing anyone else. She rebuts that there are still vital members of the mafia left. If they let them live, the mafia will just resume activity. The assassin tells her not to get the wrong idea. They aren't heroes, but tools of the organization. They don't do anything they're not ordered to do. If the organization wanted to wipe out the mafia, they would have ordered them to do so. It's also possible that another member is infiltrating the mafia, so they can kill at their own discretion. Just when they're about to leave, the assassin realizes an unmanned reconnaissance drone has spotted them. He pushes his companion out of the driver's seat and drives instead. He explains that once a drone spots them, they're screwed. She urges him to turn the lights off, but he doesn't care. He just tells her to prepare the gun. She tries to protest, but the assassin just says she should follow and that the border security forces are coming. And the border forces do just that. They immediately start shooting at the van when our agents drew first fire. The forces go to town until the van explodes. Oh no, what happened to the agents? Earlier, the assassin told his companion that the drone detects the engine's heat, so he'd keep the headlights on to make them more noticeable. He then instructed her to hang her gun from the roof and pass a wire across the trigger. He explained that the gun would fire when the bumpy road made it shake. Once the forces are attacked, they're guaranteed to strike back. So while the border guards chase the car, they'll leap out of it. And so they watch the van explode far, far away from it. It is already nighttime, and the border guards have already moved away from the area. The older man says they'll wait there until dawn. She asks if they're not going to flee while it's dark out, and he replies that the relative temperature of the ground will make it easier for the drone's infrared camera to spot them. They'll move when the sun rises. The ground's temperature exceeds the human's body. While the two are resting, she asks him why he became an assassin. He responds that he was born into and raised by the organization. He's been taught assassination techniques since he was a child. He's been raised only to assassinate. It's the only way he knows how to live. He adds that the organization is everything to him and that he's proud to have become the organization's most excellent tool. This explains why he's very hell-bent on following the organization's orders. The organization is literally his whole life. I wonder what it's like to be born into violence. This guy sure gets it. She asks him if he has any human emotions, and he answers that assassins don't need emotions. They only get in the way after all. He shares that it all ends with this job. He says that he's retiring and starting a new career with the organization in Japan. He'll be training new assassins there. Their conversation continues for a while, but all of a sudden, he points his gun at her. She's stunned. The assassin asks her what it is, and she replies that it's her gun. He inquires, "Why is it pointing at you?" She doesn't know. He answers his own question and says it's because she trusts him. The man again asks, "Why did you assume I wouldn't kill you? What if I planned to kill you once I was done, so as not to leave any evidence behind? Did that thought not occur to you?" She says, "No." He adds that he lied about training new assassins. He intends to use her until he could escape, but she's become a burden. The man says it's sooner than planned, but he's killing her now. He asks her, "What did they teach you to do in these situations?" She answers, "Sidestep your attacker's weapon toward the hot side of the gun while twisting your body to face the cold side." She doesn't think it would work against him. He tells her not to have too much faith in his abilities and that this is why he called her a novice. If you're a professional, don't trust anyone about anything. He advises her. It turns out that the gun he was pointing at her is unloaded, and with that, he tells her to go to sleep and returns her gun. This time she's pointing her gun at him, but he doesn't budge and instead tells her to go to sleep, knowing that the gun has no bullets. The following day, the pair arrives at their hideout. The older man contacts the organization and informs them that he will begin a new mission, training new assassins. The organization has already prepared everything that they will need for their new task, including fake passports and 2 tickets to Japan. While boarding the plane, they suddenly run into a problem. It seems like the aircraft has been hijacked, but it's the organization's doing. Of course, the organization would dispose of a tool they're finished with. They're not sure if he'll stay quiet. The man surmises that the organization intends to assassinate him at the expense of the innocent passengers of the plane. He goes to the flight deck and finds the pilots dead. He then operates the plane himself. Suddenly, a missile of some sort is sent towards the plane he is on. All of this to off one person? This is overkill. No pun intended. In his final moments, he thinks, "Why? I trusted the organization and followed their orders. I was so loyal to them. I would have died if they ordered me to. I was betrayed. Why? I'm frustrated. I feel frustrated. The emotions I suppressed are returning. He wakes up and finds himself in a strange place. Is he dreaming? Suddenly, a woman's voice replies to him, saying that it's not a dream. A woman appears on a throne before him and says that, despite being the world's finest assassin, he stupidly allowed himself to be assassinated. She laughs. He asks her to explain what is going on. The woman, let's call her a goddess, tells him that she summoned his soul there after his death. He asks her why, and she replies that he has options. Option 1, have his soul wiped clean and be reborn as a stranger. His memories would vanish, and he would become a different person. Option 2, accept her request and be reborn in another world. In exchange, the old man would keep his current memories, he'd retain his knowledge and experience and enjoy a new life. He asks her what's her request and who she wants him to kill. The goddess tells him he will be reborn in a fantasy world of swords and sorcery. She wants him to kill the hero in that world. He tells the goddess that reincarnation is hard to believe. But dude, you're dead and currently talking to a goddess. At this point, anything is possible. She replies that usually, the souls of the dead are cleansed of any stains and recycled. The life they built up until then is wiped away. Even if a person is reborn, their personality is reduced to nothing if their memories are erased. The goddess answers that then being reborn in another world with the memories and character from his previous life makes him incredibly lucky. The old man asks her to tell him more about the target. The goddess asks if this means he'll accept the job. He replies that he's dead. There's no risk for him anymore. Besides, he now remembers how to feel emotions. The goddess asks him to elaborate, and he shares that he has lived as a tool for killing people since he was born. He suppressed his emotions and took pride in living as the perfect tool. At the end of his life, he experienced frustration. He remembered the feelings he's forgotten for so long. If he were to be given another chance at life, he wants to live his own life instead of living as a tool for others. The goddess tells him that it's okay as long as he fulfills her request. She explains that he will be reborn in a fantasy world of swords and sorcery and kill the hero. He will have until 18 years after he's born to fulfill her request. She then bestows upon him all the knowledge he needs to survive in this other world and intel about his target. He says that the hero seems to be a valorous man. Why does he need to be killed? The goddess says that 16 years after his birth in this other world, the hero will defeat the demon lord and save the world. But after that, the hero will use his power to plunge the world into chaos. 18 years later, the world will be destroyed. So she wants him to kill the hero quickly. Given that the hero possesses abilities far greater than other humans and has 30 skills, he asks the goddess to give him the best possible skills within the standard limits. She agrees and gives him the highest stats that a human can theoretically have. She further tells him to only assassinate the hero once the demon lord is killed, since only they alone can defeat the demon lord, then chooses the skills he will have in his next life. These are Rapid Recovery, Spell Weaver, Limitless Growth, Martial Arts, and another one that isn't revealed. Now that he has decided, he's set to be reborn in the house of Tuajie of the Alvan Kingdom, a noble house of assassins. He's now born, and his dad, Kian Tuajie, decides to name him Luke. His mom, Esri Tuajie, has no qualms over the name chosen for him. She asks her husband whether he's going to raise him as a Tuajie, and Kian replies that this kingdom needs their family. The man continues that some infections can only be rooted out by assassination. His mom protests that she doesn't like it, and they might lose Luke like they have lost Ruff. Kian is determined not to make the same mistake again. He promises not to let Luke die. They'll raise him to become strong enough. 7 years pass by, and Luke is now a young boy. He still can't use magic though. He's in the forest for that day's training, hunting down alt rabbits. Magic will be the key to killing the hero, but he can't learn it without a mentor. But he can still improve his mana by doing his daily training. After a while of jumping off tree branches, Luke finally spots an alt rabbit. He hangs himself upside down from the branch and launches an arrow toward the rabbit. Headshot! Luke thinks that when his prey runs from him, the increase in body temperature diminishes the flavor of the meat. Also, damaging the organs makes the meat stink. The best way to hunt delicious meat, according to him, is to bring it down with a single shot in the head. Back home, his mom asks him to let her cook for him, but he turns her down, saying they'd agreed he'd cook on days he goes hunting. Here we are shown that Luke has a good relationship with his parents, which he didn't have in his previous life. While cooking, he ponders that he has to grow strong to fight the hero. Like an athlete, he needs to consume meals based on nutritional science. By regularly cooking for himself, he can acquire any nutrients he lacks: protein and calcium for building strong muscle and bones, and vitamins and minerals for stimulating tissue growth. According to him, wild rabbit meat is ideal since it's low in fat and high in protein, but it's gamey. He adds pot herbs, homemade dried mushrooms, and root vegetables and stews it in a pressure cooker to counter the smell. Luke mastered cooking in his previous life. Disguising himself as a chef in order to infiltrate a party attended by his target was an effective strategy. He makes a special dish he learned: cream stew with rabbit meat. It's a perfect meal that allows him to consume all the nutrients he needs to grow at once. After he's finished cooking, he has lunch together with his parents. When Esri tastes the stew, she comments that his special dish is exquisite, even adding that he must be a genius to develop it. Kian agrees, saying that he's never seen anything like his stew, even in the capital. He suggests that he could make a fortune selling it in a restaurant. The ever-humble Luke says that they're both exaggerating and that it's not that elaborate a dish. Esri says they should serve the dish to the people at the year's harvest festival. Kian tells them they can make the cream stew a Tuage's specialty. Luke thinks that the food he made in his previous life tastes far better than the cream stew he's just made. His ingredients and tools were sophisticated back then, but for some reason he feels like this meal tastes better. Maybe food tastes better when shared with family, something he's never experienced before. His dad tells him to come to the training room once they're finished with their meal. The training room is dark, located in the basement of their home. When Luke arrives, his dad is already there waiting for him. He asks his son to strip, which he obediently does. Kian then asks Luke to perform the first kata, and he does this. He checks his son's form. When he's satisfied, he asks him to perform the other katas, carefully inspecting every muscle of Luke's body and ensuring that he's doing the forms right. According to Luke, his dad measures his body's growth weekly, the development of his muscles, the growth of his skeletal structure, and the range of motion of his joints. His dad determines his next training course according to these. Damn, being an assassin is really serious work. But hey, an assassin's gotta do what they have to do. If he needs to be Starkers in front of his dad to learn the way of the Tuage, then so be it. Luke reveals that the House of Tuage is the Alvin Kingdom's greatest medical experts. They're also assassins on the down low who carry out their royal family's orders. While publicly treating the sickness of nobles, they secretly deal with those who harm the kingdom by committing evil acts. The Tuage family supports the kingdom while controlling life and death. His dad taught him both medical and assassination techniques so he could be their heir to their family of assassins. It's a convenient family to be born into, considering that he has to kill the hero as per the goddess's request. Kian tells his son that he's growing quickly and he recovers rapidly too. Even though he's still a little young, his dad determines that he should have the strength to withstand the operation. What's this operation, you may ask? His dad will be giving him the mystic eyes of Tuage. This is a secret handed down in the House of Tuage, wherein magical surgery is used to strengthen eyesight, even allowing one to perceive mana. Not only does it let one see at great distances, but it also improves dynamic visual acuity, depth perception, and low light vision. We then see Luke with bandages on his eyes. Esri feeds him happily, but Luke protests, saying he can handle it himself. His mom insists that feeding him is a mother's job. She says that he's been relying on her less and less as he's grown. She feels elated just being able to take care of her son. Kian approaches them and Luke runs to him. The time for removing his bandages has finally come. Luke and his parents are on their balcony where a view of the whole Tuaje region can be seen. His dad carefully removes his bandages. As soon as it is removed, he slowly opens his eyes. He tries out the mystic eyes and finds that he can see everything clearly now. It's like having a built-in zoom option in one's eyes. Surely a very convenient tool for assassins. His dad declares the operation a success. Aside from this good news, his dad also tells him that he's already found a teacher that will be teaching him magic. Luke could not be happier. After being reincarnated into this world, Luke has spent the first 7 years of his life slowly building up his strength. He's focusing on his physical abilities while honing his assassination skills. Now that he has the mystic eyes of the Tuaje, he's one step closer to fulfilling the goddess's request. He'll only grow to become stronger and stronger with each passing day, especially since his dad also found him a magic teacher. Also, being blessed with his knowledge and experience from his previous life, killing the hero seems easy, especially if it's Luke.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.